Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Marguerite. I own Wreaths by Marguerite, and here on my YouTube channel I teach how to make wreaths. Primarily what's called a storm door wreath, which is what I made today. If you stick around, you'll see how I made this beautiful storm door wreath, which is also referred to as a pancake wreath. Why? This wreath looks big and fluffy, right? But if you turn it on its side, it's only 4 inches deep max. This allows you to display a beautiful wreath on your front door between a storm door and a screen door without it getting crushed. And for a lot of people like me who live in western Nebraska, we like to protect our investments so that they'll last for years. So stick around and you'll see how I put this one together. There is, as of the time of recording this video, another of this kit left in the shop. This was one of them that was left from last year that I didn't make a video for, so I thought, why not? Let's put it out there, see how I do it. If you learn anything new and you like it, let me know at the end. And here we go. Okay, let's get started. Let me go over the product. Like I said, this is a kit that I have left from last year. I never made a video for. I still have one more kit beyond this that's available if it's something you're interested in. It is in my Etsy shop. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over and prep my materials. This is a 14¼ inch wreath base. You are putting 12 pipe cleaners on it when you buy my kits. This is already done for you. And when you're ready to start your project, you just need to bring your pipe cleaners on the outer 2 rings out towards you, like I'm doing right now. And move the 6 pipe cleaners on the inside 2 rings towards the center and out of the way, because you work with the outer 6 first. So it's a 14¼ inch frame with 6 crossbars and 4 rings. You have to have the 4 rings and you have to have the 6 crossbars for this to work correctly. So the outer 6 pipe cleaners are attached to rings 1 and 2 at the crossbars, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the inner 6 pipe cleaners are attached between the crossbars on rings 3 and 4. So there they are. There's 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have them out of the way because we're not using them yet. And when you're ready to start your wreath, in front of you, I always say have it in front of you. You spread your pipe cleaners on the outer ring, horizontal to you. Move to the next one. This is going to give you a helping hand when it's time to put mesh and ribbon in it, or at least the mesh, so you're not trying to manipulate it so with more difficulty. I can talk, I promise. Alright, so there's those 6. This is the sign that set the theme. It's a green sign with the white lettering. So I chose 3 different ribbons to go with it that work well with the sign as far as colors. I went with 1 solid color to break up prints. My solid colored ribbon is 2½ inches wide. My prints are both 1½ inches wide. You can do any combination of 2 to 3 ribbons per ribbon bundle, and you can do all 1½, all 2½. You can do 3 where there's all 3 of them are 2½ inch ribbon, or you can do 2 2½ inch ribbons and 1 1½ inch ribbons, or what I'm doing now. There was a lot of tongue twisters in there apparently. So when I send you a kit, I have a lot of the prep work done for you. Your pipe cleaners are attached there. Your pipe cleaners are attached to the back of the sign, either through staples or if it's a metal sign with cable tie mounts. You never use staples more than 1/4 inch deep because they will go through the front of your sign. And that was how it turned out on this. We're going to put that aside because we won't need it for a while. I've already pre-folded all your ribbon into 12-inch length. You'll have 12 to 13 pieces of each of the ribbons in your kit. You only need 12, but I put 13 in case you make a boo-boo. That's why I stress so emphatically that when you're making these wreaths from the kits, you cut 1 piece of ribbon at a time, so that you're not wasting any ribbon and end up with not enough, okay? So, since they're folded in half, we're going to go ahead right now and we are going to find the center of the bundles. So half of the ribbon is going to the finished side of the ribbon is going to face the table, and half of the finished side of the ribbon is going to face the ceiling. You put your finger in the middle between both sides, and you cut at both ends, and you have all 12 pieces cut to the right length, 13. So then you take the bottom of the pile and turn it upside down and over onto the top of the pile, and now all your ribbon has the finished side facing the ceiling and the unfinished side facing the table. So then what you're going to proceed to do, once you get that done, is you're going to fold them all equally in half, putting the finished side on the inside. I'm going to do a few, and then go to the next ribbon, and then once I get the samples done, I'm going to stop the video and finish them up so I don't bore you with every single detail. I'll do 4 of each, okay? Let me do this one too, as well, before I do the solid color green, because I got a little extra direction for that. Finding the center, there's the unfinished, there's the finished. Half of the pile is on each side of my finger. Cut at the top. This is thick ribbon. Cut at the bottom. Then turn the bottom half of the pile over so that the finished side is up on all of the ribbon. The reason we do that is because when we get to solid colored ribbon, it's hard to tell the finished side from the unfinished side. So this step is done right away. We cut it, and then we fold it. And then we go to the next ribbon, we cut it, and then we fold it. All evenly in half with the nice stiff crease at the bottom, okay? Now with the solid color ribbon, I always do all of it, and I don't walk away unless there's an emergency all at once. I do every step. So first we're cutting it at the top to get our pieces that are 12 inches long. Then we know that the finished side is facing the table on the bottom part of the pile. So we're going to turn it over so that all 12 to 13 pieces have the finished side facing the ceiling now. Now it's really hard to tell the front from the back on most of these solid color ribbons. You can tell if you take the time. But I always do it this way so that if I have to get up and walk away, I can come back where I was and not worry about whether it's been knocked off the table and it's upside down, and I immediately fold them. Every single one of the solid color ribbons. That way, if this falls off the table, I already know. The finished side is on the inside of the ribbon. Okay? My hands are dry. I'm going to do all of the solid color. And I'm going to use the solid color to show you how to put the cute little V-cuts, also known as dovetails, on the tips of the ribbon tails. Okay. Get that done and out of the way. I'm doing things all over the place with this video. I should have done the tools first, but it looks like I'm going to do the tools right before we get started. These are all folded in half, finished side of the ribbon inside of the fold, okay? So now we're going to cut these. Let me go to a smaller, more focused screen, more close up. More of a close up. There we go. Figured with the solid it'd be the easiest to show you because there's such a contrast between it and the table. So to get the cute little design on the tips, the V shape, what we always do is we take that finished side of the ribbon where the crease is from folding it, right? Put that to the table and put the two cut ends to the top facing the ceiling, and then we fold it directly in half with it wire to wire, and now there's a new fold. So that fold we cut from the fold to the wire at a 45-degree angle. Okay? I'm going to do all of these with you. Fold to the table, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. As close to the top as possible, because if you cut it too far down, you're going to lose length on your tails, and you're going to have all different size tails. Fold side down, cut side up, wires to wires, making sure they're even with each other. Cut from this fold to the wire. Fold side down, fold in half, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. Fold side down, wire to wire, fold it, cut from the new fold to the wire. If you come across what just happened where that one wire hooked on another tail, that's normal for the wires to stick out right after you cut them. Just clip the excess off so it's not sticking out. It settles, for lack of a better way to put it, when you cut it. Get that nice and even. Cut that. Okay. Fold down. This fold, cut to the wire. Fold side down, cut side up, fold, cut. If you want to see troubleshooting so that if you make a mistake, I would recommend you go back to my early videos, the very earliest videos here from January and February of 2024, and I show you how to troubleshoot if you cut your ribbon wrong. Couple of ways you can recover from, a couple ways you cannot. That's why I find it so important, if you're a beginner for sure, and if you buy a kit for sure, that you cut one at a time. That way if you screw up one, you're not screwing up everything. Okay, and there you go. I'll be back in a couple minutes with everything cut. Okay, so now I've finished cutting all my ribbon tails. I'm going to pre-assemble my bundles so that I can quickly go through the process of attaching them to the wreath. So I'm going to put the leaf inside of the green because I want this on top, green in the center, and I'm going to put that on the back. So the green is sandwiched between the two 1.5 inch ribbons. So I'm going to get all my bundles ready. I like to pre-cut and prepare as much as possible before I start assembling the wreath. It helps me to more quickly go through the process, as there are times that I am making anywhere from 8 to 12 wreaths a day. When there's Storm Door wreaths, I can do 8 to 10. So this just makes it much easier for me. You don't have to do it this way. You can do a little as you go. It's just more efficient. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. So, like I said, you should have 13 of each. At least 12. I may have accidentally missed putting an extra. My apologies if I did. If you need it, I'll take care of you. Mailman must be here because my dog is having a meltdown. She doesn't hate the mailman. She just... Mailman and the trash guy. She just comes unglued. I think she's excited because she spends most of her time with me. So I've talked you through putting all of these together, and I'm going to put them aside because I won't need them until I put the first layer of mesh on. And I'll go over that, and then I will go over the tools that you need for this project. Let me clean this. A Swifter does a really good job getting all that itty bitty glitter off of your cutting mats and off of the space that you're working in. Sometimes I do have to go back with a lint roller, but usually that takes care of it. Okay, back to the mesh. On this project, we're using 10-inch mesh. It's 10 inches this way, and I pre-cut it in the kits for you at 20 inches, which is what you need to make the poof for a Storm Door wreath. You should have 13 pieces of mesh in your kits. So there's that. Let me sit up there and go over the tools. Need scissors, we've already used them. Some wire cutters. Most of these tools are things you have around the house that you don't really have to invest in. The one thing that you probably don't have in the house unless you're a quilter is a cutting board, cutting mat. You're going to need one of these so that you don't destroy your table. This is what you cut on. If you're cutting mesh yourself, you use a rotary cutter. These are found in the quilting section of your craft stores. You're going to need some needle nose. I don't always use those. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's to help pull the pipe cleaners through the base. But to avoid having to do that, I have invested in these little 6-inch plastic embroidery needles. Let me come in a little closer. They save a lot of frustration. They make smaller ones, but I found the 6-inch one works the best for most of my projects, and the plastic because it's flexible. You put your pipe cleaners from the sign in here to feed it through the mesh. That way you're not talking bad under your breath as you're trying to get it through and it won't go through. I use a little wooden dowel. You can use a pen or a pencil. Pardon me. This is to curl your pipe cleaners on the top. And a chip clip. That's to hold your mesh. So let me bring you back out. There you go. You can see all my mess on the right. Let me bring it this way a little bit. You don't need to see all that. Blech. Okay. Just know with these scissors, you can use them on the mesh too and it won't hurt the scissors. If you have scissors you're going to use for ribbon, don't use them for anything else because you'll be very upset with whoever did that because that'll ruin them. They can be sharpened, but I prefer the Fiskar brand. This is this kind. I'm a left-handed person, but I hold them upside down if you noticed. Do whatever works for you. There's no completely right or wrong way to do it. There's just some basic elements. Alright, so when you're getting ready to put your mesh in, you wanted to make sure that your pipe cleaners on the outside are already in position, meaning that they're horizontal to you. And you turn the wreath form as you're working on it so that you're not contorting your body and reaching around. It's much more comfortable to do it if you turn it as you go. Turn it as you're working with the pipe cleaner. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the first layer of mesh in. What we're going to do is we're going to put the mesh in every other pipe cleaner on the first layer and then go back and do the 3 in between. That helps it to lay flatter so you can get that storm door style that's under 4 inches deep. This is a solid color mesh, so it's not as easy to stay on center when you ruffle it. So what I do is I use the table to uncurl it because you have to have it curl side down. Since it's a solid color mesh, I fold it in half to find my center, and at the top I place a chip clip. That helps also hold it flat as well because it's going to curl under as you get further into the roll of mesh. It'll start curling under and you won't be able to manage it. If that happens, just add another item to the top to hold it in place for while you're ruffling it. When I'm not shooting video, I use my phone up here. We won't be doing that today. So then you come down to the side closest to you, fold it in half again, and then you have your thumbs on the outside of the mesh, and then you use all of the rest of your fingers to gather up the center. Now the chip clip's on the top center to hold it down and to give you a visual point of reference so that you can do your best to stay in the center as you're ruffling. If you're using a patterned mesh, it's a lot easier because there's usually a line of some sort that you can follow in the center. But even then, I still put a clip at the top because it's just habit. It becomes habit. So now I've gathered this piece of mesh in my thumb and forefinger, taken the clip off, and I need to do any adjustments to the mesh that I want to do before I put it into the frame. And what I'm talking about is you want to make sure the cut edges on both sides of the circle match up. That's why you're holding it loosely so you can adjust it into position. And you never, ever, ever pull it from the outside edge of the mesh, because if you do that, all these cute little lines of mesh will become curvy. Now, if you don't care, I don't care. But at least on the outer edge, it's important that it's not wavy. It looks better when it doesn't look like it's damaged. I don't know how else to put it than that, okay? So then you bring your frame in front of you with the pipe cleaner you're going to use in front of you. It has its pipe cleaner horizontal to you, and then you're going to put the mesh in vertically. I have to turn it a little bit. It's just me. And where you held it should be the center of the mesh bundle. And you're going to take both hands and bring it over. You're going to bring a pipe cleaner up on the left, pipe cleaner on the right, or in my case, on the right and then the left. Tighten up this pipe cleaner or chenille stem, they're the same thing. Tighten it low and tight 2 to 3 times. Then lift it up out of the way. And you're going to take that outside cut edge of the mesh over the inside cut edge of the mesh. The outside cut edge of the mesh over the inside cut edge to make a complete circle. Now, if your edges aren't lining up and you need to adjust them, never grab from the outside of the edge. Like I was saying, always hold the pipe cleaners and grab up here at the base of the pipe cleaners to adjust them out. Keep in mind on the bottom layer, the most important part to be circular is going to be your outer edge because all of this up here is going to be hidden. Now, some people question, why do you do the mesh vertical with the outside cut edges over the inside cut edges? I do that so that none of the cut edges are on the outside of the wreath that can get caught on something. That minimizes the possibility of the mesh fraying. Now, all mesh is going to fray, but this way you're less likely to see it. And then after you have it all positioned the way you want it to be, if you can turn in under the outer edges to hold it in place. This is doing a great job all by itself. So I'm going to skip that one. We're going to go over here and we're going to do this 2 more times. Lay it on the table, curl side down. Fold it in half. Place your clip here. Any kind of clip, hair clip. If it's a clip, it's a clip. If it's a binder clip, whatever. Whatever works for you and you have handy that you don't have to go out and invest in. So I did it again on this side. I'm taking my thumbs on the outside of the mesh and I'm going to gather them with all my fingers going right up that center towards that clip so that I keep my ruffles on both sides of my hands as even as possible. I get up here, I pull the clip off, put it all in my thumb and forefinger loosely so that I can make any adjustments I need to make to even up the edges. I'm not grabbing on the very outer edge of the mesh, mostly just by my hand. And I know I'm turning it the other way. I can't do it exactly the same every single time. I try for the tutorials, but I can't. I tell everyone that this is just a learning experience for you to see all the different ways that it can be done. This is what's comfortable for me, to put it at an angle one way or the other and to keep it from being monotonous. So I pulled that tight and I'm going to twist it tight and low 2 to 3 times. Why tight and low 2 to 3 times? That helps keep the depth of the wreath down under the 4 inches that you want on a Storm Door wreath. Now if it's not going on a Storm Door wreath, don't be as particular about it. But if you don't keep it tight and low also, you're going to lose a lot of the length on your pipe cleaner and you don't want to run out of room for your ribbon. So I'm taking that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. These I need to get out of the way. I'm going to adjust it just a little bit. This dips in here a little bit, so I'm going to grab it up here and bring it out even so it's not so... keeps that round shape. I'm not as worried up here. You can be that particular, but don't play with your mesh too much. It's plastic, but it still has its limits. Alright. That turned under. Let me show you that. See? That's a little pointy over there, so I'm going to go over here and bring it in just a little more. Alright. That should help pop up some of these ruffles. There's a little bit of frayed mesh. I try to cut it as I go along so I don't have to find it later. I'm going to go to the third one. Everything in your kits are pre-assembled. No, pre-cut except for the ribbon tails. Not pre-assembled. The sign and the base are pre-assembled. Let me go ahead. Ruffle. On the next couple of ruffles, I will show you how I do it differently than this with the 2 hand. I still use 2 hands, but I do it slightly different. So I ruffled it all up. I removed the clip. I put it in my hand loosely in my thumb and forefinger, and then I'm going to adjust it without touching the outer, pulling on the outer edge. And then I'm going to bring it. I'm turning it again, I know. Get my other hand, bring it over here so the mesh is in the pipe cleaner vertically. Pipe cleaner horizontal, mesh vertical. Tight and low 2 to 3 times. Trust me, that pipe cleaner is not going to break. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Okay, that didn't match up when I put it in there, so I'm grabbing it at the base of the pipe cleaner. The reason I hold on to the pipe cleaners is sometimes if you're pulling on it without holding right here, the pipe cleaner will pop back open from your sheer brute force. That's not even remotely circular. Ugh. Sometimes it's completely uncooperative. Mesh can be that way. Don't let it frustrate you. Okay, we gotta bring this out. What did I do? What did I do? Okay. That's... See how that looks? It's almost like a square. I need to grab here. I'm going to bring it here. And these two that tuck in a little bit, I'll bring those out. If I can get a grip on them. My hands are so dry right now. It is so dry. We haven't had much snow this year, and it's just windy and dry. Okay. I played with that a lot. I don't like when I have to play with it that much, but none of us are perfect. I could take it out and redo it, but I find this works just as good. Alright, come on. This one just doesn't... You know what else you can do? I'm going to show you another trick. Turn it around. If one side looks better than the other, and then make sure the outside cut edge is over the inside cut edge. Let me see if that makes a difference. Yes, that's definitely better. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go back and do the 3 in between. Curl side down. I use the table to unroll my curls. Goes right there. Fold it here. Ruffle. Now I'm ruffling it with both hands, but now I'm getting to about right here, and I switch to one hand to ruffle while the other one's holding the mesh flat on the table. I'm much more successful in my ruffles when I do it that way. And it also helps when you get to the middle of the roll of mesh, because in the middle of the roll of mesh, the curls are much tighter, so when you're trying to put this together like that, it's really going to curl, like I said. I'm going to go this way. So I'm putting it in there, holding it in place while I bring the pipe cleaners out. Twist tight and low. And if you hear a squeaky chair, I apologize. My dad's room is right above me. And I ran long today. Okay, this mesh piece is turning upwards. So I just got to go underneath with my fingers and help it turn back the way we want it to. Alright, it's all positioned where I want. So let's go do this one. Curl side down. Fold it in half. There's my center. Put it up there. Fold it again. Find my center. Get started, and I'm just going to ruffle with one hand. I recommend wearing short sleeves and nothing nice when you are working with deco mesh, because it is like Velcro, and it touches something, it's its new friend. It doesn't want to come off. You got to be careful. We're taking that vertically into the horizontal pipe cleaners, bringing the pipe cleaners up and over. And having a good clear workspace, tighten them 3 times, helps your mesh keep from attaching to other things on the table and hitchhiking as you turn your wreath. Alright, there we go. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. And as I get further into the projects, even after making over 2,000 wreaths, the proofs become a little bit more consistent. Okay, curl side down, fold in half, clip at the top in the center, fold in half, go from the center to the top. And do one more like this, and then we're going to get to the ribbon because that'll be the end of the first layer. Okay, that matches up on both sides. I'm putting it in here vertically, twisting it 2 to 3 times, tight and low to keep its profile small, short, then insert word. Taking that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Move the pipe cleaners out of the way. Outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. It doesn't meet there, so I'm going to grab it down here and bring it out a little bit more. So it's good. It's all good. This one turned under, so doing that little flip helps keep it positioned, and there we go. Alright, so now that's the first layer of mesh. Okay. This one here looks like it's sticking in a little further, so I'm going to pull it in a little bit. If you're ever not sure too and you can't be confident with the naked eye that something's right, snap a picture with your phone and look at the picture to see if there's any places you need to make adjustments. I have the benefit of the camera, so that helps. Turn it around. Yep, that looks... So this one needs to be adjusted a little too. So let's do that now. So I'm not trying to do it while there's a bunch of other goodies on here. Clip any pieces of frayed fabric off. Okay, so this one needs it too. Okay, so there we go. So let's bring over the first 6 bundles of ribbon. 5, 6. They are ready to go. So unlike the mesh, on the mesh you had your pipe cleaners horizontal to you. I'm going to go around and put all my pipe cleaners vertical to me because the mesh went in vertically, but the ribbon goes in horizontally. See how I'm moving it around instead of reaching around? So on the bottom layer, we're going to put these in an inverted V or an upside down V where the tails face us after I ruffle them. So let me go ahead and ruffle. We're ruffling where we put that nice crease in the center. Put it in our thumb and forefinger and then pull the ribbon down towards us. So you see a right side up V. I see an upside down V. My tails are facing the edge of the table and me. And I'm going to put this in the pipe cleaner in front of me. And I'm going to twist this tight and low 2 to 3 times. And then I'm going to twist it up 6 to 8 times so I can create about a 1-inch twist. And then I'm going to cut the excess that's not twisted off and throw it away. Okay? Then we're going to tuck that pipe cleaner down into the mesh towards the center of the wreath so that it's not visible and it's out of the way. So we're going to do that 6 times on this layer. Now after you've done that, you're going to take that ribbon and you're going to separate it into a pattern that you like. So I always lift the top 2 ribbons up so I can place the bottom one. And I lift the top one up to place the second one, and then I place the top one last. And there often is bubbles at the base, so I pop those out with my fingers. And if you notice, as I'm taking my finger down the ribbon, I'm going over the wires so that I can make sure the ribbon is straight. And on this side, I'm going to do opposite. I'm still going to bring the top two up. I'm going to bring the plaid to the center. See, this has a mind of its own. And then I'm going to bring this one here and this one here. I press down on it a little bit because that also helps keep it nice and flat for the design we're looking for. Just like with the mesh, we're going to skip one and go to the next one. Now, another thing I'll point out, both the patterned ribbons have, this has the same pattern all the way through, so there's no one way or the other to place it in the wreath, meaning one's not upside down. And this one, the shamrocks are both going both ways, so it doesn't matter how you put them in the wreath. It would make a difference if you had a pattern where they were all going one direction, because then you'd have to be cognizant of how you put it in the wreath. But this one you don't have to. So I'm going to gather it. I'm going to fold it towards me, and I'm going to put it in that pipe cleaner. The V towards me, upside down, 3 tight and low twists, and then twist about 6 or 8 times till you get a 1-inch stub. Tuck that down and place your ribbon one at a time, lifting each from the other and popping those out, those little gathers at the top, and putting them where you want, as close to staying to the outside of the wreath as possible. You'll find that it'll try to creep up, but at the end we always go back and adjust them. You don't want to handle it too much. And if you'll notice, just like with the mesh, I am not holding on to the tips of the ribbon. It can fray, not as easily as mesh, but it is still fray. And if you have to cut it, which you can, you'll shorten the length of the ribbon tails and they'll be less visible to the outside of the wreath. So let me do this. That'll be the end of the first 3. Making that V, upside down V. Put it in the frame. Tighten low 2 to 3 times, then upwards. Cut it after you've twisted it 1 inch. Cut the excess off and tuck it in. Okay, this isn't going to be seen up here, so it'll be hidden. Plus, it's the same color as the mesh. I try to do that. Not always, but I try to do that so it blends in better. Some people, and even me, sometimes wait to the end to tuck those in, but I'm trying to be consistent today. I mix it up a lot because I need it to not be the same every time. It gets monotonous. Pressing it down a little, positioning the ribbon, and now we're going to go back and do the other 3. Gather, hold in the thumb and forefinger. And always make sure that they're even too, that you don't have one side longer than the other. And we're going to go back and do the other 3. 3 times and then upwards. Cut the excess off. Tuck that stub in and position your ribbon. So they layer on top of each other this way by doing the first 3 and then going back and do the other. Again, that gives a nice pattern and it also helps hold things in place. At least I've found that to be the case. Just don't fuss with it too much till the end. Ruffle, fold, put it horizontally in the vertical pipe cleaner, tighten low 3 times, 2 to 3 times, make a 1-inch twist, cut the excess off, tuck that in. Separate your ribbon, bring the top 2 away so you can position the bottom ones one at a time. Run your finger over there. I press it down, that's my thing. To each their own, right? You just need to know the basic concepts, and then you can do whatever you want that makes it easier for you. Ruffle. Put it in here. 1, 2, 3 low, and then make a twist for an inch. Cut the excess off. Position your ribbon. And that will be the end of the first layer. Okay, and I'll show you. I'll put it up for you to see. St. Patrick's Day reminds me that the spring is coming soon. I can't wait. So that's the first layer. We're going to go back and put the other 6 pieces of mesh in. So as you'll see, you got your 6 pipe cleaners. We're going to bring them up in between each of the pieces of mesh that are already in there. So you have 6, and then I lay them out how I want them to lay horizontally to me as I go. Sometimes I can do it without looking. Sometimes the pipe cleaner has decided to hide, so I have to go searching for it. That's 2. Here's the 3rd one. There's one more of this kit in the shop at this point, and then this completed wreath will be available for purchase in my Etsy shop. That's where the kits are as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 more to go. Bring that up. Alright, so here we go with the mesh again. Get 1 piece at a time. Put it curl side down on the table. Fold it in half. Clip at the halfway point. Put it up there. Fold it in half. And ruffle. Thumbs on the outside, using the rest of your fingers to gather. That clip at the top is your focus point, so you can make sure you stay in the center. Thumb and forefinger to hold it. Adjust any mesh that's needed and put that in there vertically. Tighten low with the pipe cleaner 2 to 3 times. And then we're going to clip a couple strings off. Then we're going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Alright, it's a little long on this side, so I'll adjust it. There we go. Fabulous. Skip that one and go here. Same thing as we did on the lower layer. We're doing every other and then coming back and doing the other 3. Curl side down. Fold in half. Clip here. On the table. If it curls up too much, you can put something down there to help weigh it down. But I usually just fold it in half, find the center with my finger, start gathering, and then put my hand up there to keep it flat. It really does work well. Put this in here. Horizontal. Tighten low, 2 to 3 times, twist it. If you don't make sure that the pipe cleaner is tight and low, you're going to run out of pipe cleaner before you get to the ribbon too, and it's going to be really flimsy, floppy. All your product will flop around. This keeps it secure in its home. That one. Curl side down. Fold it in half. That's my center. Fold it in half. Gather it. it in my thumb and forefinger. That's lined up really well, so I didn't have to make any adjustments. Put it in the pipe cleaner and then twist the pipe cleaner tight and low 2 to 3 times. Sometimes I grunt when I do that. I didn't that time. Sound effects. Gotta have sound effects, right? Take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Adjust that slightly. Okay, so we've done the first 3 on that layer. Let's go back and do the final 3. See how curly that is now? Fold it in half, curl side down. Fold it in half. Thumbs on the outside. Even if you're just doing it with one hand, you still want to make sure that thumb's on the outside so you don't lose your ruffle. Yeah, I find I do a better job ruffling when I do the one hand on top one ruffling technique. Because I can tell now I made it too wide on one side. There we go. Fabulous. I don't know where I picked up fabulous from, but I do it a lot. Put it in there horizontal. No, put it in there vertical. Twist tight and low 2 to 3 times. Then you're going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. The outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. This is an all plastic with tinsel mesh that's very iridescent, so it picks up the color of whatever it's around, which is nice with the green. Right now it looks a little pink, but once the sign in the top layer gets on, it's going to be very green looking. Alright, 2 to go. Curl side down on the table, fold it in half, flip, fold it in half on this end. Start your ruffle with your thumb on the outside as you're gathering it all into your thumb and forefinger. Use that chip clip as your focus to stay on center. Get it all between your thumb and forefinger. That looks good. We're going to go over here. I get dry after a while. Sorry, guys. I'll take a sip of water next. Tighten low 2 to 3 times. Cut outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. This one really curled under, so I'm going to adjust that. This piece needs to come up. Come up. Okay. Alright. Needs to come up a little more here. Alright. Last but not least for the mesh, and I have my extra piece left because in the kits I try to make sure there's 13. Fold it in half with the curl side down, put the clip there, bring it up here. On this end, fold it in half, and then just start ruffling. I'm going to do a combo, little of both ways. Get to the top, put it in your thumb and forefinger, make sure everything's evened up, and put it in your frame. Tighten low 2 to 3 times. Then I'm going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Alright. Looks pretty good. And there's that. Now, you have a decision to make at this point. You can either put your ribbon tails in now and lay the sign on top of the ribbon tails. Or you can put the sign in and then the ribbon tails. I think today I'm going to be different. I don't usually do it this way, but I'm going to put the ribbon tails in first. I know, most people will be surprised. It's not my norm. All right. I just really want you to be able to see that it's a shamrock, because sometimes when you put the ribbon on top of the sign, you can't see the shape, which is okay when it's round. But this has a cute shape that you want to see. So we're going to put the ribbon a little differently than we did on the bottom layer. We're still going to ruffle it up, but we're not going to do the inverted V. You can do that if you want, but I'm choosing to do more of a starburst design. I usually put one set of pipe cleaners at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and I do those last so that the ribbon bundles lay on top of those around it. So we're going to go with that theme. We're going to stick with that. So I'm going to go to the side and do this one first. Tight and low. I'm not going to do anything with the pipe cleaners until after I get the sign on it. I'm doing tight and low 2 to 3 times. And either you can twist it a couple of inches and tuck it under the ribbon and cut off the excess before you fluff the ribbon so that you just have a stub of pipe cleaner. Or you can do these little curly cues that I'm going to do, and I will show you that in just a few moments. All right. So now we are going to take this ribbon and we are going to position it the way we want it. Unlike the bottom, I'm going to do both the plaid one way and both of the shamrock one way. And then I'm just going to go like that, give it a little curl, get those bubbles out of the base of them, move this out of the way, and then I'm going to do this one. So this will lay on top of this. But on this one, the shamrocks are going to be to the center and the plaid is going to be to the outside. I like to have the pattern mixed up a little bit. You can only do this on a wreath where you have an even number of pipe cleaners. Otherwise, you're going to have two the same right next to each other. In that case, you need to do them all exactly the same. The only exception would be is if you're putting a bow on the wreath. If you put a bow on the wreath and you have two that are exactly the same next to each other, put your bow there so you can't see it. Another tip. Okay. So I'm lifting these up to bring this down. And I'm not grabbing the tip of the ribbon. I'm grabbing somewhere in the center. Because I'm not twisting these yet, they're getting in the way, the pipe cleaners, that is. And I may pull these out further, more like a V. Once I get the sign on, we'll see. Okay, so that means I'm going to skip these two, and I'm going to go back and do this one and then this one again. Okay. So this one here will be exactly the same setup as that one. The other thing you could do is you could put the plaid on top and the shamrock on the bottom on every other one too. That would be another idea to work with too. If you notice, every time I'm bringing the one I'm working on directly in front of me. So that means plaid goes up. Run my fingers over it to give it some curl. This here. Trying to hide under the mesh. We want it to be seen. So, there we go. So now I'm doing this one here, which will match that one there. Let's open that pipe cleaner up. So the pipe cleaner is vertical, the ribbon is horizontal to me. Tight and low 2 to 3 times. So this is going to go up, the plaid is going to go bottom, so we're going to bring those out of the way so I can manipulate the ribbon. Sometimes it's easier to do this standing up, it's up to you. I'm usually standing and sitting while I'm doing these projects. So now you have the 4 outside. So now we're going to do top and bottom. Horizontal ribbon in vertical pipe cleaner. So you see how this lays over that, this lays over that, and this will lay over those two, and the other will lay over those two. So there's a nice pattern. Gives it more character and dimension when you do that. 2, 3. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the plaid towards the center. The solid in the center, solid green, with the shamrocks facing the outside edge. That one's trying to sneak over the top. No. You stay where you're supposed to be. Okay. Alright. I'm not curling them too much on the top layer yet because I want to see how much of it's hidden by the sign. Let me do this last one, and I have one extra bundle left because it was a kit to start with. Bring that up the center. Put that in the pipe cleaner. Bring that up and over. 1, 2, 3. So the shamrock goes towards the center and the plaid goes towards the outside edge. Let's get those in place. The solid colored green and then the shamrock. That one stayed in its spot. Alright. So let's get all these pipe cleaners out of the way for the moment. And now I'll stand up because we're going to put the sign in. Alright. This has 4 pipe cleaners, so I'm going to use that embroidery needle. The P and Happy should be at the center up here. And I usually attach the pipe cleaners just on the inside of the pipe cleaner from the ribbon bundles. So I'll do this and this, then I'll come over here and here because this will be, these two on the side will be between 2 bundles. So let's start at the top. I'm putting it all the way through the wreath. It's giving me fits already. Okay. Put the pipe cleaner through that. Fold it over the needle so that you can pull it through without it falling off of the needle. So that will go there. I'm going to come back and I'm going to go right above the pipe cleaner on this bundle. Put the pipe cleaner on the bottom tail of the shamrock. We're going to feed that through. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to tighten it up at this point. I'm going to first make sure that everything's where I want it to be. I might bring this out a little bit on that one. I think that should come out. So it's all where it's supposed to be. I usually put something over the sign, usually, so that I don't jack it up, scratch it, because you never know if the glitter or anything else on the table is going to damage the sign. So these are the 2 pipe cleaners, top and bottom, center. So I'm going to wrap them around one of the wire rings closest as I can to one of the pipe cleaners from the ribbon tails. That way that disguises the mechanics of the pipe cleaners even better. And I put the pipe cleaner around the frame until I run out and make sure the tip of the pipe cleaner faces down into the wreath. That way nobody's door gets scratched. Here I'm reaching when I should have turned it, but once the sign's on I try not to turn it too much. That's done. So now we can turn it over. It's secure. Okay, let's see. That I'm going to make that more of a V and that more of a V. Before I completely attach it. Yeah, the top and bottom one I think I'm going to bring out above. I think that's enough to be able to tell what it says, okay? So now I'm going to put the 2 side pipe cleaners, and this is in the way. Where's the other one? I'm going to make that a V too, so it's on the outside of the pipe cleaner. I will fix that when we get done. So now we're going to take the pipe cleaners on the side and feed them through the mesh. I'm making sure it's a little bit under the sign so you don't see the pipe cleaner from the sign. That's why when I did the pipe cleaners here, it was best to put it right just inside of the pipe cleaners from the ribbon tail. So I'm going to pull that one through, turn it, put that through the mesh. Secure the pipe cleaner to the needle. Put that aside, make sure it's where I want it to be. It looks like most of the ribbon is going to be outside. So I could have put the ribbon on last. I'm going to leave that one there though, because you want to be able to see that tail completely. And I should have just done V's. That's okay. We live and learn, right? Okay, so turn it over. Find my pipe cleaners and attach them to the frame. Not really a pipe cleaner there, so I just wrap it around the crossbar. Same here. I pulled it into the wreath a little bit. I didn't pull it super tight into the wreath, meaning the sign, because we want it to settle in but not be so pulled in that it looks wrong. It looks like it's puckered or something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to start with the top. And the first thing I'm going to do is go back and do my curls. You can pull the curls out so you can see the corkscrew design of the curls. But in this case, I'm not. I don't want too much attention on the pipe cleaners. I want it more on my ribbon. So then I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to give it a little curl. Make sure they're positioned where I want them to be, all the way around the top. And then I will go ahead and go to the bottom and pull out my tails so they're all facing the edge so you can see them. Lift those out of the way. I'm at a point where I can do 3 at once. You can try that. I'm sure you'd be successful. Okay, so this, they like to move. They've got a mind of their own, just like the mesh. Okay. Pardon. Do the next one. And I'm curling one pipe cleaner one way, and I'm curling one towards the center of the wreath, and the other one I'm curling towards me. Running my fingers over it and curling it a little. Make sure it's positioned where it needs to be positioned. That one I want it under. I'm mixing it up again already. I'm doing the fluffing before the curling. Now these are a little bit, one's longer than the other, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the one that's not the same height off just because that's how I roll. I notice those things, so I think everybody else is going to notice them, and they probably won't. Okay, so let's get these all manhandle it a little bit or roughhouse a little bit to get it into position. See, I'm running my fingers over it to give it the curl. 2.5 to go. Okay, curl away from me. Curl towards me. These are going to stay under the others, so I'm going to fluff them and put them back under. I could play with the ribbon all day. It's a bad habit, I guess. Alright, so that's going to go under this one. So let's do this one. It'll be the last set of pipe cleaners. And if I haven't said so already, yes, I have the wreath half off the table. I often do that. I can't get my chair where I want it to be under the table, so adapt and overcome, right? Alright. So this goes inside. Curly top. That's bugging me over here. I'm squirming, guys, sorry. Why did I do? I do. You guys weren't paying attention and telling me what to do. I'm kidding, you can't. I tried to do it like I did the bottom. No, no, no. So that means it's this way. I wonder if it was so far off on this side. It wasn't. It was me, not the ribbon. You notice I'm being fairly rough with the ribbon. This stuff is sturdy. I prefer a linen ribbon because you get a little bit more strength and it just sits better. Okay, so there's all that. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to bring up the mesh from the top layer so that I can reposition the ribbon tails on the bottom so we can see them, because as you're creating these projects, they tend to crawl up underneath. And you never just want to pull them without moving the mesh out of the way, because you're going to snag them on the mesh. Okay. And I'm also making sure that the tips are not facing upwards. I'm turning them down on all the ribbon. Just some of those minor details that make it look better. Finishing up here, and then I'll stand to look at it again and show it to you guys. You all. Alright, I like to kind of make sure that... Okay, that was... Man down. That was just my easel. I'll take a look at it again. Make the adjustments I think I need to. That looks good. And then I will show it to you. Alright, I'm going to sit down for a second. Okay guys, there you have it. A completed St. Patrick's Day Storm Door style wreath. It's less than 4 inches deep, so you can put it behind a storm door or a screen door, but of course it can be displayed anywhere. It looks very full from the front. Who would ever know that it's that super thin? Alright. Well, thank you for spending some time with me today. I always appreciate it. I know you could be doing anything, but you're spending time with me today means a lot. I hope you've learned something new or refreshed your learning abilities. If you'd like to see more content, make sure that you follow this page and subscribe. I'm also Wreaths by Marguerite on all the other platforms except for TikTok. I don't do TikTok. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. The most you'll see me is here on YouTube and on Facebook. Facebook, I always let you know when a new tutorial is coming out. Typically, they're Sunday Mountain Standard Time at 1 p.m. This wreath will be for sale as of the premiere in my Etsy shop, which is www.etsy.com/shop/Wreaths by Marguerite. And I will have that all down in the comments section of the post. If you have any questions or concerns or want to know where some of the materials came from, please send me a message through YouTube and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I enjoy the interaction. So thank you once again, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.